And so the question is, what do they care about?
Hey, I'm Kurt.
And I'm Jason.
And today we've been talking about empathy and communication. And we've told you about the communication triangle, how you've got to figure out who you are, and you've got to figure out who your audience is. And then you have to figure out what you want for them, but what they want for themselves. Because if they're going to listen to anything that you have to say, you're going to have to talk about things that they care about.
And so the question is, what do they care about? And a lot of that also is answered by asking the question, who cares? Who cares? No, who is caring? Who are the people that are caring? Now, here's the cool thing, is you're asking that question. You're asking, what do they care about? And the truth is, no matter how long you've been friends, even with one person, or even married to them, or no matter how long you've been in your city, that's a constant conversation about trying to always figure out what they care about. And that's really, again, that foundation of empathy, but you are miles ahead of where you were, miles ahead of where others are, because you've been willing to answer the question, what do they care about? You're asking the question, what do they care about? Who cares? Here's who they are. What do they care about? I don't know what they care about. You're asking questions like that already, and that is putting you miles down the road.
So that's step one. You have to be aware of this. You have to be aware of why it's important, and you have to start asking that question. Right now, though, what I want to do is give you some practical ways that you can actually go out and start filling in the blanks. Start answering this question. And I'm going to assume that we're talking to a lot of church leaders. That's a lot of what we do, helping churches reach people. And so one great resource, one great place to start is with the people that you've already reached, the people in your church. Talk to them, build a relationship with them, figure out what they care about. And to dial in a little closer on that conversation, you can talk to a spectrum of people. Yes, there are people that are serving, and you may know them well already, and maybe people who have been there for years or decades even. But is there a group of people that you're trying to reach more of? Are they represented in your church at all? Go talk to those people. Go talk to the new visitors and try to figure out, what do they care about in life? What are they worried about? What's keeping them up at night? What resources do they need? What are they searching for on Google? What kind of music are they listening to? Try and fill in some of those gaps. Likely, that corresponds also to similar people outside your church.
Which that would be the next very practical way of figuring out what people care about, is get outside your church. Get into the community. It'll probably help you serve your current audience as well too, because whether they were honest with you or not when you're talking to them, they live and work and play around the people in your community. Get out into the community. I heard of one pastor recently who has adopted a local restaurant. He wants to be the pastor of that pub. He wants to sponsor the local bands, and he wants to just be there eating and hanging out and building a relationship with the servers. That's one way, asking questions. But there's also sports teams, not just cheering for them, sponsoring, participating. What does your community need? I heard of another church that would go out and just ask the city council, what are your biggest needs this year? Every year, he'd schedule 15 minutes with the representative and say, what do you need? And now, just again, by asking the questions, you're a proven resource. You're a proven value. Whether you ever met the need or not is another thing, but even just by your willingness to come alongside to get to know them means you care enough about them to want to get to know them.
And so, and you may not be able to meet everybody, and obviously not, but hopefully you're out there, but your people are, and so you can also talk to your people about their friends outside of the church. And what do they care about? What problems are they facing in life right now? And they don't have to give you specific names, but that can give you some clues as well, just a wider net that you're casting. But speaking of wider nets, maybe you want to get out there, you want to get a broader range of what's going on in your community, and there's tools for that. We use a company called Percept Group. When we do a branding process, we'll go and pull ministry-specific demographic reports. And these include not just age and socioeconomic factors, but it also has very ministry-specific psychographics. That is, what are their fears? What are their concerns? What are their worries? What questions are they asking in life? What do they believe about God? Are they going to church right now? And so that's all very helpful, getting you an overall picture. And what's interesting is we find that even churches that feel like they have a pretty good grasp of what their community's like, sometimes they're really off because they've been reaching a certain kind of people, but actually most people in their community are not that. And so that can be very helpful if you're looking for, okay, who's out there that needs Jesus, needs church, but it's not here yet. Pulling some demographic information can be a great source of new information.
We'll post a link to that group, but also you can do your own survey, not just outside the church, but inside your church. And I know, as a past leader of a local church, that sometimes surveys freak people out for good reasons, right? But it really comes down to the voice in what you're sharing and asking the questions. If you want to create an opportunity for everybody to vent and be frustrated, then a survey would be a great way to do that too. But you can also ask questions like, what do you find most valuable? How do you feel most connected? What was your favorite message series of the last 18 months? What would you like to see repeated? And you're going to have some answers that you're not going to repeat, but you're also going to be able to dial in on learning from your own people what they're finding the most value in by participating with you. And in that, you're going to dial in on what the people that you're trying to reach are valuing.
And then if you want to take that a step further, there are companies out there that can help you do an anonymous survey in a certain geographic region to a certain kind of people. And it's pay to play there, but you can craft a survey that can give you really great data on what people think about different things. That might give you some really great insights on how to go out there and reach them, how to speak their language, talk to them about things that they do care about.
Right, SurveyMonkey.
SurveyMonkey, yes.
That's one of those tools right there. But here's the deal, like, you've been given sight and insight and ears to hear and look around. I think that would be the next very practical, maybe the most accessible. You could go out to the local coffee shop and just listen. What are people talking about? What music are they listening to? What styles are in? What products do they buy? What trends are happening in the culture that you want to reach and become a learner of that culture?
You can answer some of these questions about what people care about if you're listening to the lyrics in the songs that are most popular in your area. If you're looking at what's written on their t-shirts as you walk around downtown, those can give you insight to how they view themselves and the big questions that they're asking.
So be a learner. You're already learning. You're watching a video like this that tells me that you're in. You're into this conversation. And again, let me just affirm you. You're miles ahead of where you used to be. You're miles ahead of where others are in how to engage and how to reach more people because you're willing to learn. And that's empathy. I'm not just going to tell you what I think you should want to hear. I'm going to try to figure out the language that you speak and how to come alongside your hopes and your dreams. And because what you're trying to call people to, it's what you want for them. It's what they should want for them. They might not know they want it yet. And the only way to convince them is by intriguing them, is by adding value to them, and you can't do that unless you know them. And so you're well on your way. We have a free resource for you to download. It's our branding questionnaire, literally the very first step of our branding process. It's free to you today. It's on our homepage, artspeakcreative.com. If you scroll down, you'll see it there. Drop your email on there. We'll immediately send you our branding questionnaire for you, for your team, to begin to walk through the process that we're kind of expressing some elements of here today.